Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today for my discussion I have taken William Shakespeare. He is one of his greatest poem. All the world is a stage. In fact, it is a dialogue in the most famous drama As You Like It, where the Jacques character, nomadic wanderer, who is highlighting the important theme in the form of a poem I have taken for discussion. William Shakespeare, 1564 to 1616. This thought is also being called in another name, that is 7 ages of man. Let us see what William Shakespeare has to say for us. Here is the main thought of Jacques, written by William Shakespeare, one of the well-known playwright and the greatest poets of all times. All the world is a stage, symbolically the mask part, okay, and all the men and women are merely players. All the world is a stage. The main theme here is life is being considered as a drama, considering the whole world as a stage where we will all have a role to play. So that's the main theme here. And all the men and women merely players. We are destined to play our role, part, whatever God has given us. We need to move forward and play our role, that's all. We are not given any choice other than that. The concept of that. Then they have their exits and entrances. See, exits and entrances in our human life, if you consider, we have, birth and death are the two parameters within which we as an individual, we need to play our role. We need to move further and we have to play. And that's what Shakespeare is trying to highlight here through the character Jacques. They have their exits and their entrances. Men and women in this world, they have their exits and entrances. Entrance, if you consider as birth as an entrance, exit can be the death. Where, wearing the mask and all, we need to play our role further. And one man in his time plays many parts. One man, as an individual, one man, it is almost like an introduction to the main theme. One man has to play many parts, many roles. What are that? His acts being 7 ages. So finally, now the main theme is being highlighted. 7 ages. So Shakespeare considered the entire life of a human being termed into 7 ages. What are they? At first important role is the infant, the child being born. Symbolically I have taken. Mewling, crying, puking, vomiting the milk, on the nurse hands or the mother in the nurse arms. So being a mother, it is the infant role. First stage of the human being is the infant role. The poet is trying to highlight here. Symbolically I have given you the pictures where the whole world is a stage where we have to play our role as an individual, merely as a players. God being the fate and destiny, playing the main key part where they are the decision makers, where man is forced to play his role, move further. Infant image continues further, puking and crying, then the whining schoolboy. Next, second slot is the whining schoolboy. The schoolboy image Shakespeare tries to imply here. With his satchel and shining morning face, morning, when mother is getting ready, the child, for going to the school, creeping like snail, child is reluctant, not ready to go to the school, unwilling, crying, okay, unwillingly to school. So after infant stage, the schoolboy, unwillingly being, getting ready by the mother, getting ready, crying, it is unwillingly moving to the school. Further, continuing, and then the lover, number 3. The character play. What is it? Then the lover sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad, crying. Lover, a character who is always running behind and impressing the lady love part. And whenever there is a rejection part, he feels very much angry and sighing like furnace, full of fire. That anxiety with a woeful, sad ballad, writing poems on that. Made his mistress eyebrow. So all the poems related to made to his mistress eyebrow, rejected, love, that part. Continuing, next part there is then the soldier. The soldier part. Who is the soldier now? The role of a soldier, a human being, is supposed to enact, play. What is that? So the soldier part is full of strange oaths and beard like the part. Full of strange oaths, very strong and very convincing. And he is taking up or owning up the responsibility further. Jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel. sudden outbursts of feelings. He is not ready to compromise with that. A very assertive self-assertion, taking control of the life as it is. The responsibility part in the life of an individual, the soldier, a responsibility, owning up the responsibility is being highlighted. Then seeking the bubble reputation. Very interestingly, Shakespeare is trying to tell bubble reputation. Our life on this earth itself is like a bubble. When it will explode, nobody knows. But in spite of that, what the poet is trying to highlight, in our life there is a role coming soldier. Each of us will be soldiers. Soldiers owning up the responsibilities in our life. Seeking the bubble reputation. We are always more particular about the reputation part as a soldier, the honor part, fighting for the country, nation and all. Okay, ready to take up the risk, sacrificing his entire life, that part. Even in the cannon's mouth, he is ready to put himself into danger. Cannon's mouth also, and he is ready to sacrifice himself for the sake of the nation. That owning up the responsibility part is being highlighted. After the poet highlights about the soldier who will put himself even in the cannon's mouth, owning up the responsibility, facing all the dangers further. Next role is and then the justice, like a judge. So man will wear the shoe of a judge, middle-aged stage, where in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut. So we can symbolically have highlighted the middle-aged people, okay, who are very conscious of their health, who are very conscious of their physical appearance, okay, and food part and all. So they are very much conscious. They know what is happening, and not only that, they are judgmental, trying to correct, like the justice part as a judge, okay, correcting everything, and they are very conscious of what is happening. Aged, full of wise thoughts and all, full of wise sauce, sayings and modern instances, and so he plays his part. In the middle-aged, people are very conscious of their health, the food intake, and they try to, full of wise sayings, they try to correct the world, and their experiences and the health part and the whatever perceptions they face in their life, and they try to correct the entire world is all about, with their health part and all. They seems to be very happy. It is a very interesting part of the man's world. Further, and so he plays his part, important stage in the human being. Next, the sixth age shifts into the lean slippered pantaloon. Next, once again more and more aged, sixth age shifts to the lean and slippered pantaloon, loose fittings and all. Okay, now the age part starts to come up, the wrinkled face and that aged part with spectacles, difficulty in reading the part, or the eyesight, and pouch on side, the teeth and the health part. Slowly there is some sort of disorientation. His youthful host well saved a world too wide for the shrunk shank and his big manly voice. There is a change in the voice also, and their activeness becomes slow. Earlier, whatever the health part also becomes slow and slow, turning again towards childish treble and pipes. People cannot make out their even words. The voice part, they become very slow. The earlier happiness and healthiness slowly becomes slow, and everything becomes slow in their sixth age. As we have seen in the earlier stanza, the commanding tone of the aged man or human being slowly becomes weak and weak, where his eyesight and the voice also changes. See the whistles in his sound, like a shrill voice. People cannot understand in what way he is trying to communicate and all. Everything seems to become very slow and this. So where people will understand that he is becoming aged and aged, nearing the last stage. That is also one of the important role, which is inevitable in a human being. This is what the poet tries to convey. Then coming to the last stage, where with the pictorial, I try to this, okay, from the infant stage. Finally, it is almost like expecting death to come any moment. It is almost like deathbed, last scene of all, that ends this strange eventful history. Strange eventful history in the life of a human being. What Jacques in the As You Like It drama, whatever he is highlighting, or William Shakespeare, who is the actual master dramatist, the aged wrinkled face, and the already shining all the teeth and that wrinkle, everything that ends this strange eventful ends. Finally we have come to the end part, where almost like a human being lying on the deathbed waiting for the death to come and take him. Is second childishness. It is almost like here man becomes once again a second childhood, where his body entirely depends on somebody else. Okay, he is not in control of his body, where for anything and everything, like a child, a mother looks after the child. Similarly, now in this last stage, every human being needs almost like a depending, like a child, second childhood, second childishness. Okay, their body will not listen to them, and for anything and everything they have to depend on others. So it's a very last part of the human world, childishness and mere oblivion, total delirium, unconscious stage. They don't know what is happening, they cannot pursue things also. It is almost like a dream, they never know they are living or dead. It is almost like a living dead concept of that. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. See, sans means withdraw, not having, excluding that part, minus. So the teeth, eyes, looking, that eyesight, teeth, the taste part and all, finally teeth, not able to chew things, and taste, slowly losing that, and sans everything. Almost one by one, man is getting ready for the final oblivion, going into the other world, the other side. So it is almost like a preparation where man cannot avoid it. It is a inevitable, which is a part and parcel of everyday life in the human world. This is what the poet tries to make us understand as a reader, student of literature. We need to understand that it is one of the important part, which though a human being is reluctant to go, like a child going to a school, a human being cannot avoid, which is unavoidable, and it is a part and parcel of everybody's life. This is what the poet is trying to convey. Finally, the poem has come to this last stage, where I just want to compile up, where Shakespeare, through his imagination and fascination, has given us a reality in terms of appreciation, and which stood time and space, and it is classic in the making. All the world is a stage, where almost all in all our walks of life, everybody has to accept whether we wish it or not. Considering the whole world as a stage, where we are wearing the mask, where we are forced to, fate or destiny decides everything. And like a soldier, life is like a battlefield. Whether we wish it or not, we have to accept. Sometimes we'll be angry, sometimes we'll be sad. It's a part and parcel of our life entirely, and the whole world becomes a stage, mere entry and exit, between birth and death. Between these two parameters, a human being is forced into this world. It is almost like existentialists who will convey through their ideas the main concept that in this world is nothing but a human being is thrown into this world, where he is not having any choice other than to live. That is the only choice is being given to a man. Existentialists, they propagate. Similarly, an absurdist, SamuelBeckett, and they are trying to tell through in the dramas like EndGame, Waiting for Godot also, the entire world is an absurd. It is for SamuelBeckett, the whole world is like an absurd drama, where everything seems to be meaningless. But in spite of this existentialists, absurdists and all, what Shakespeare is trying to tell, the whole world as a stage, we need to accept it. It is a part and parcel of our life, and the poem is a classic in the making, because no matter what, he being Shakespeare being the greatest dramatist of all times, and he has given us a theme which we cannot deny, which we cannot avoid. So we need to accept that life is a part where there is a change. From birth to death, man has to play so many roles, whether he wish it or not, and he has to accept. And in his journey of his life, from birth to death, he has to learn. And life long he has to learn, and learning is a lifelong process also. And in our appreciation, changing our perceptions in facing this world and life and living, that's all that matters. And that's what this theme is all about, and we need to accept it. And that is the reason I think this is a classic in the making. and consider to like and subscribe. Thank you.